And the new Spider-Man movie, Brand New Day, which is currently being filmed, still doesn't have a main villain. When it comes to villains, we're well served. There are plenty, but none of them have presented themselves as the main villain of the story yet. We have a lot of rumors. There's Boomerang, there's Tombstone, and all sorts of thugs showing up. Scorpion is one we mentioned recently that Daniel Rickman said will have a big role, but he's still not the main villain. And there are these minor ones, and there's even speculation that there might be a montage at the beginning of the movie where Spider-Man is shown cleaning up the city. So him fighting Tarantula, these minor villains that are being speculated, and then yes, this whole story would unfold into a bigger villain who hasn't been revealed yet. There was some speculation about Mr. Negative being the main villain, being the big antagonist, but that cooled off. Maybe it was just a guess, which has now completely fallen apart. But then who's coming here? My time to shine, hello, we know each other, right? My time to shine, hello. To say that the villain from Spider-Man Brand New Day is actually a villainess. We will have a villainess in the story. Spider-Man is not very famous for having villainesses among his rogues gallery. Recently, a few have appeared. But there isn't a major Spider-Man villainess. In fact, in the movies, it's never happened that a villainess was the main antagonist of the film. It's always men, always male villains. In the alternate versions, we even have some of Spider-Man's villains with gender swaps to help balance things out. But there isn't, off the top of my head, a major villainess. Black Cat isn't really a villain, right? She's an anti-heroine. She slips between being an ally and an enemy of Spider-Man. She's a criminal, right? She's Spider-Man's Catwoman, so we end up without that character. I, the direct, am here to reinforce this rumor from my time to shine hello, saying that there really is a search for an actress between 30 and 50 years old, no ethnicity specified, to be the villain in the Spider-Man movie. And that these two rumors together would indicate that there really is a strong possibility that Spider-Man, for the first time in theaters, will be facing a female villain, a woman. There's talk from the Sage Sync crowd suggesting Sage Sync might be the villain. I find it strange because it's not really her type. Being a villain, I think it's more likely, much more likely, right? Sync to have an age closer to Peter Parker. If an ally, being a companion, a friend, not a girlfriend, giving a love interest, I doubt they'll agree since Zendaya is in the movie. And Marvel, it's more than clear, wants to invest in Peter's relationship with Mary Jane. Even to bring their real life relationship, now that they're engaged, onto the screen. To create this hype with the audience, especially with Zendaya's fans. I don't think she'll be a threat. There could be some chemistry, but it's more likely she'll just be a friend. It's becoming more and more outdated that any female character is automatically the hero's love interest, or that the male character is the heroine's love interest. That's become less obvious over time. I don't think it's the character, especially because she doesn't fit that need for an actress who's 30 or 50 years old. That's not the case with the Sarah, who's still in her 20s. So, who could it be? There are some online speculations. Nothing confirmed, but it could be the Queen of Spiders bringing the multiverse into play and already making the connection with Duno's Day and Secret Wars. Some people are saying it could be Satar, who is a shapeshifter villain. She changes shape, she has the power to shapeshift, which could create several dangerous situations. For Spider-Man, I find it interesting to have a villain who can shapeshift for Spider-Man. Why? Could we be misinformed? About this movie, Zendaya and Jacob Batalon are in it. Ned is coming back, Mary Jane is coming back, maybe not, maybe Ned and Mary Jane are just an illusion created by the villain. They're at Massachusetts Institute of Technology and won't appear in the movie. All of this is just a way to deceive Spider-Man, to convince him that they're back. To play with Spider-Man's past. They might even bring Aunt May back. To torment Spider-Man and his past, playing with that would force the person to figure it out, right? Because nobody remembers who Peppa is anymore. But it could. It could get to that point where we do it, because the movie is about that too, right? About Spider-Man rebuilding his life and making peace with his past. Having the past return and knock on the door could build an interesting narrative. And then a villain who can shapeshift becomes a real asset to create this contrast effect, this conflict effect with Spider-Man, with the Spider-Man he wants to be now, with who he used to be. So I think it's interesting. I find the possibility intriguing. But no iconic female villain from the comics comes to mind. That is really important. That could be brought into this movie. We have two sources, both from the direct website, saying the same thing. And My Time to Shine Hello, which is, well, we know, right? It's pure craziness. All day long, spreading rumors and fishing for information too. Time to Shine does things like that. She adds two eyes and says, "Oh, female Spider-Man villain?" Everyone starts speculating, and within 5 minutes, they've decided on the character, actress, release date, and even the storyline. They had the full script in 10 minutes. Because people want to ride the hype of the reveal. But I think it's possible. But I don't think it's set in stone. No, we can. We have to wait a little longer to find out exactly what the plot of this movie will be, right? It's a bit confusing, isn't it? This movie shows Spider-Man at the very start. Cleaning the streets of New York, fighting against some of his classic but lesser known villains, with Scorpion showing up with one, with a slightly broader story. Working for someone we don't know who it is. We know it can't be Kingpin. We know there's going to be this Spider-Man story. He's trying to rebuild his life. Maybe without Peter Parker, just being Spider-Man. Peter Parker with this trauma that everyone who gets close to him ends up dying. And Hulk and Punisher are in the mix too, right? I mentioned here that I have this theory. Maybe Hulk and Punisher appear in this movie as a trade for something Marvel will use in Doomsday and Secret Wars. Maybe they'll even use Tobey Maguire, who also has a lot of references and clues about being at the place where the movies are happening. That makes sense. But it's still not enough to say that this character, this actress, there are people talking about Sarah Snow as the actress who will play this role. They might gender swap a Spider-Man villain, which will probably spark the usual controversy. That's also possible. Maybe we'll see a female version of a famous Spider-Man villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're talking about the multiverse. Anything can happen. What do you think? Comment below. See you soon. Bye. That was another Quattro Coises episode. The channel posts at least 3 videos daily, Monday through Sunday. If you liked it, here are more suggestions to watch. Don't forget to leave a like, a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on the notification bell for new updates. Thank you very much. See you next time.